Welcome to the Dirty Snow Podcast post Eagle River Vintage Weekend. We've crowned a two-time world champion. What a interesting weekend. The way the track laid out beautifully, stayed smooth, and racing was great across the board. What do you think, Norm?
Yeah, it was a great weekend. A lot of ice. Temps were good. Very competitive racing, it seemed like, in a lot of classes. And Sabrina came out on top again for the big one for championship number 2, newest member of the two-time club.
Two-time world championship. The first one, everybody was like, we thought they had the mishap with Katie and Jay, and she did it again and strong.
Yes.
There was no second guesses on this one. She proved a point.
Absolutely phenomenal athlete, phenomenal racer, won several different classes over the course of the weekend. So hats off to her and her team. They did a very good job, and they had their ducks in a row.
So we're going to jump into some recaps on the weekend right away, and then we will stage on from there.
Absolutely. So weekend results. Starting with Friday Night Lightning, the Woodies Dash for Cash. Sabrina showed she was fast and ended up beating Matt by a decent amount, quite a few sled lengths in Friday night.
Yeah, you could say it was a great 8-lap shootout. We had that early red. Matt had a good run on that first before the red, and I believe it came down to who was going to get out front. Once that line, it kind of was a one-lane racetrack. Did you notice the same, Norm? Or
yes, I was actually talking to Matt's dad in the paddock area kind of before the race, and I'm like, what do you think, John? What do you think? And he was saying, he's like, I think whoever gets to turn 3 first. And Matt got there first, but the red came out. They never completed a lap, so they did a full restart. And I don't know if he spun out of the hole or just didn't get a second good jump. And Sabrina kind of drove away, led all 8 laps.
Well, it's tough when you get that in your head. You get a good one. It's so hard to do back-to-back perfect hits. And Sabrina's always been great on the line. She's got great pull off the line with the Howard power.
Absolutely. So, yeah. That was a Dash for Cash. The first top 2 qualifiers from Thursday were top 2, just reverse order.
And Foyt was up there too. He was in the top 5 in qualifying as well, and fast equipment there.
For sure. He had some mechanical issues throughout the weekend.
It seemed it would make it to the end of the race and just kind of flop out in 3 or 1 and 2 there on the way off.
Yeah, he won a semi or something, and it died in 1 and 2 on him. So it's a good thing it was just a 5-lap semi. It lucked out. So. Moving over to 340 free air, Ryan Lislow over Tim Polvecki and Kyle Mogg. Then one of my favorite classes, the 340 IFS, Brent Miller running a special number, tribute number, very cool. Picked up the win over Sabrina and Mitchell Summertag. And then the junior class, good number of junior entries for the vintage stuff. Tucker Braith over Jesse Lemke and Barrett Feedy.
Yeah, there's a lot to watch with those, and it was enjoyable, the junior classes throughout Friday night.
Absolutely. And Friday was a good show. Lots of people on the hill all weekend. I was very happy to see that. So good numbers for vintage. Of course, the Vintage World Championship, Sabrina over Matt and Jamie.
Yeah, rode it again. Put dominance on the weekend, Sabrina. And the interesting one in this top 3 is Jamie coming from the back row.
Back row, yeah. Maybe it was 15 laps. He would have been a factor. Needed a red kind of.
Yeah, not too often do you.
But, yeah.
Not too often do you have that. You still got me. I dropped.
Yeah, you dropped out of the studio.
Okay, well, I'll join back in. You keep hitting the results.
So 340 IFS, Sabrina got the better of Brent for the Sunday final and over Fred Mankey in third there. That was another good showing. Those are the old IFS Snow Pro chassis for those that don't know. Very fun to watch. They had pretty good entries this year for the 340 class.
I enjoy the IFS sleds the most, I think. The way they handle, the way they look going into the corner, they're really racy. I'd love to see those become a premier class, so a possibility.
Absolutely.
Or in a 440 format.
Yeah, they did have a 440 class, and I think the parts just kind of fell off. They were hard getting motor part. I think 250 is kind of doing the same thing right now, but 340 seems to be pretty strong.
And the IFS class.
Yes. F500, no surprise. Colton Walney, very fast, ended up taking the win over Marcus Catlin and Jordan Johnson. And Marcus was pretty racy there. Colton didn't walk away.
Colton's been a long time in winning this. He's been fast in that 500s for years. I can go back to 2015 era when Colton was dominant in on an F500. So this kid's been in it, 10 years of racing these F500s. It's a lot of knowledge, and the man's a good tuner.
Yeah, yep, him and his dad. So over another big class. This is my class. Nice 250 free air. I think they're one lungers, so my kind of speed. Don Letty over Gunnar Carlson and Rick Kazmarski. So it was a good weekend. Good amount of sleds. No real hard crashes that I saw. So
yeah, there was nothing too bad there. The one thing that really grind my gears, we'll get into that segment later.
Okay, we'll finish this up here. Schedule for the month of January, and I apologize if there's an event and I didn't get it on the page. We'll get it on the next show as we rotate through. So big weekend, 62nd running of the World Championship. Pro Star Cup is up there for the champ guys for part of the Friday Night Thunder show. And then the following weekend, it will be the Sprint World Cup in Wausau, Dorchester with Ice Oval Unlimited, Boonville Snowfest, Central Minnesota Pond Racing is in Sauk Center.
And we go to Pierce
Lake. There's Pierce Lake, and then there's OCC all on the same weekend.
Non-PBR
OCC.
The 25th and 26th are a big weekend, I guess. Everybody wants to go race, and it's a safe time to plan a race.
Absolutely. So weekend after the WC, everyone's got the itch.
Yeah.
So, and then we'd like to thank the fine folks over at Woody's Traction Products. They put the action in traction, keep you studded down to the ice. And Rick is not going to be at Eagle River. Talked to him today. So if you got to get an order in and it's got to get rushed, probably should have did it yesterday.
I could have come through.
You might be able to direct ship it to Eagle River today or tomorrow.
Yes.
Rick over at Papa Seasonings, it was great running into him a little bit this weekend. I talked to him a little bit in the pits, gave us some samplers, stuff like that. Some really good Bloody Mary mix.
When we go back to full screen, we'll show off the Bloody Mary mix.
Yeah, absolutely. Emperor One CBD products here at the Emperor One studio. And the folks over at PJR Home Services. USSA Pro Star, home of the Pro Star Cup. And they will be back at Eagle River for Friday Night Thunder, part of that Pro Champ class. And then their big show is Wausau, the Sprint World Cup.
Is that all you got?
That is all I got.
So we did a little testing in the studio today, and we mixed it with a little high, but we'll see if we can get the camera to focus on this. Oh, we spilled all over. I lost my cheese. We got some Bloody Marys here in the studio. Papa seasonings.
It's a little spicy if you're a light seasoning guy like me. A little spicy, but it's still a pretty good Bloody Mary.
I tuned it up for you, Norm.
I
was trying to put a little spunk in your step today. I wanted some good energy out of you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got all the fixings today. So
yeah, we got cheese blocks in there, and
Rick for the good Bloody Mary mix, and we'll have some. I think we're going to give a few away up at Eagle River. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But
yeah, if you're going to be in the Eagle River Derby track, comment Bloody Mary. If we run into you at Eagle River, we're going to set you up with a Bloody Mary bottle.
Yeah,
while they last.
I think we got
a few
4 or 5
running around.
Yeah.
So we'd like to get those out to people that support us and show off this product, so you can continue and buy some of their stuff. Before I came into the studio today, I actually used a steak seasoning as well on a tomahawk. So can't go wrong with the Papa Seasonings product line.
Absolutely. Great to see everyone that's commenting. A couple of people coming out of retirement. Good to see Kurt Krieger there at the same hotel we were at. So good old Hiawatha. So a couple of housekeeping things from the Derby track. Watch their Facebook page for updates. Trailer parking is tomorrow, Wednesday. Talk to Brian if you have questions. His information is posted on their page. Allowed fuels and oils are also posted on their Facebook page. They put out a short reel before we came on. Craig did. Pro Champ, wait to register for Saturday and Sunday show so you don't get a late fee. Don't do it on the website. They'll have you do it in person when you get there.
And this is for Pro Champ to add on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes. So Pro Champ will be Saturday and Sunday. I believe that they got more than 8 entries, so they're going to run that. But don't register online. You'll get the late fee. They'll work with you in registration.
This also follows through for practice. The track is holding up very well. They're very impressed with where they're at right now, with the baby being able to water down and how smooth it ended up from the previous weekend with the great temperatures. So they will have practice noon to 3 p.m.
Yes, paid practice.
Paid practice. And this is not online, so don't worry about looking at online. You will do this in registration line as well.
Yes. So when you go to register on Thursday or get your pit passes, this is where you'll register for those 2 things. And any other classes that you are looking to sign up for. Chip draw and media day for the F3 guys. That is taking place at the Hall of Fame, the Racing Hall of Fame in St. Germain, 5 o'clock Thursday. You're going to come talk to some media guys like us. We're going to get you some FaceTime and some interviews and stuff so you guys can spread that stuff out and make yourselves look good. Use it for sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So please come talk to us on Thursday.
And we're going to work something out there on Thursday. We're going to try to see if we can do the full-on draws live, but that's something in the works.
Yes. Kitty Cats are going to be part of the Friday Night Thunder and Saturday morning show on the big track. You got WKSRA and WKCR. That's the North and South divisions. They're both going to be at the Kitty Cat track. Go and check those guys out. It is a lot of fun to watch. They bounce around and they get back up a lot easier than the bigger guys. They're moving a lot slower and they're, full of piss and vinegar a little bit. So
yeah, I like when they get loose in the bales a little.
yeah, they get we got some clips from years past. Safety tech, Mike Benoit and the team are doing safety tech all day Thursday, 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. And then again, Friday morning, 7 a.m. till 9:30. More stuff posted on Eagle River's Facebook page. F3 mandatory teardown is happening Thursday. Talk to Mike. He'll schedule you a time.
Perfect. This is a
Open we are.
If someone could
We're back. We're back.
Okay, we're back.
All right. A little technical difficulty.
The internet must be spiking here. We're getting so many viewers today.
Yeah.
In and out.
But
there we go.
Okay.
Now we're good with the mic back.
We're good now. So this weekend, what did you think? It was what are your topics and things to take away from the weekend?
The weekends had some diversity. Let's just jump into it. Supermod came in with 34 actually I'm 36 entries today. 2023 we also had 36 entries in the Superman class. In 2022 we had not the year 2024, the 24th running of the WC, 23rd, and the 22nd we had 54. So we've seen a drop from the 22nd finished WC here in Supermod sleds. And this kind of comes post power plant era. I want to say these last 3 years have been the power plant era, I'm going to call it.
Yeah, it's tough. The economy hasn't been particularly great, so I think that's part of it. I think part of it is, I heard a few guys were still waiting on motors to be completed, and then a few people got hurt. So I think you're missing probably between those 3 scenarios. I'd say you're missing a good 10 entries.
Okay, I'll give you that.
like people like Alex Nesbitt, Kevin Flannery are some bigger names that come to mind.
Jesse Worgan getting hurt.
Jesse got hurt. You got hurt. Curtis Peterson, he's podiumed and won it. I know Josh Pekka I think they were waiting on some motors and they had to do some outside of racing work. So there are a couple different things playing into the factor. And like we said, the economy's not great. If a lot of people that have businesses, that rely around winter, and it hasn't been a good 2 years. If you're like a plowing or snow removal company, hotels aren't getting any cheaper, stuff like that. I think
let's look past that. That's nothing. If you're a real racer, you're going to show up.
Yes.
But are you not going to show up if you're not going to waste the time? Like, we don't see the Flannerys anymore like we used to. We don't see these other builders developing in. Have some people gone over the top and it's not worth chasing it? Is it to the point where I know they have this, I'm going to show up with this, I'm waiting for mechanical failure on them to win? Are we seeing that possibly?
Yes and no. I know what you're getting at. Is like the top.
Are the builds out of control?
Tier builds and motors, are they just so competitive to where it outprices the middleman or the little guy? I think that's an extent, part of it. No one wants to show up to race for 12th place. They want to race to win. That's what every racer wants.
Are you better off just going to run your Central Minnesota Pond Series?
You get
a good run, your association, and not even worry about the WC? Or is it something, yes, the prestige of the WC, the getting of the rings is massive. It's interesting just to see the numbers kind of fluctuate here for a bit.
Yeah. Bryce has a good comment. Bryce Tresniak, good finish in the WC. Made her in after like quite a few years of trying. So good job, Bryce. He says Mickey and Kevin have moved on to Enduro and F3 focus, and Alex has retired his knowledge. So,
okay. So, guys cycling, and I think you do see that. We did have a lot of guys that ran consecutively. We've seen some big upsets this year with like Shooty not making it after a long run of being in it for many, many years and getting edged out in the LCQ. That was a tough one to see. Guy, he worked hard and they had those sleds working decent, but those guys have been consistently in the top 10 and slowly getting edged out. Where are the changes coming, right?
Yeah.
These sleds are looking great.
The sleds look great. They're fast. They're getting expensive.
The motors are getting to the point where they're insanely fast.
Yeah. I'm not taking anything away. All these drivers are phenomenal athletes that can drive the wheels off things.
No, I never said that. I just said, where's the line of, who's going to develop or overdeveloped, right?
Yeah, it's hard
and is tech going to start cracking? Are we going to start cracking down on all these custom built sleds and chassis? Are we going to start saying, hey, where are your measurements? Can we get a measurement on something, or R&D or this or that, or they came bent from the factory with this much tolerance? It's, I guess, show me.
Is it going to end up like Champ did, where with all the exotics of carbon hoods and titanium?
We're at that point already.
Is it going to price itself out of being the top tier class?
It's going to be the top tier class no matter what, as long as it stays the WC class. Right now, the person that holds the candle on any of this is the WC facility. If they say we're going to go IFS racing, we're going to see IFS sleds get built. They single-handedly control what class is going to be popular because of prestige, and that's what's important.
Yes. We're reading some of the comments here. Matt Bennett showed up with a borrowed motor, no test time, put it in the top 10. Absolutely.
If we get into the grind my gear segment, it's a number of guys building sleds in the trailer.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Marcus Catlin, builds are getting out of control. There's nothing vintage about it anymore. I agree to an extent. The chassis are new. The concept is vintage, right?
Yeah. The motor concept is vintage. The free air part is the vintage part of vintage racing, and the skis. Truthfully, the Leaf Spring ski is vintage. At the end of the day, the chassis is just a straight piece. Solid front end, which was what it should be. And it should be off the original measurements at some point.
Let's see. Steve Perrick, PVR, letting us know the big supermod race for PVR March 1st in Willow River, Minnesota. $7,500 to win or payout.
Yeah,
okay. Oh God, we're blowing up.
Well, we got to keep this show going.
Nothing vintage. Yeah. So that's a thing we've talked about. There's guys that can make it work. I think what Gady has done with older technology, 10, 15-year-old chassis, they make it work very well. But you see a lot of faster, newer built sleds.
It's not a really it's a repop chassis, so it's not a true chassis at the end of the day. It's a repop, so you can rebuild them. There's nothing. All these chassis, you know, when you hear the announcers speak as, oh, this is vintage. Well, these are all repops. At the end of the day, there's a few sleds out there using true manufactured steel from the factory that the sled's representing. And where does that line get drawn? You know, what's to the T and what's not to the T. I understand tunnels, that's an open game. But the bulkheads are truly what should matter. You almost should have to carry a stub around with you and prove that, hey, this is the measurements of the factory and my brand motor that I'm running in the sled matches this chassis design.
Yeah, that's a whole can of worms, right?
Yeah,
whole can of worms. We're not critiquing. We're just
no, I am. I'm saying how it is.
Yeah,
I'm saying how it is as a racer in the sport and competing in the sport consistently. You know, who gets what and why. You know, that's the issue, and that's why I have the show. I don't have the show to say what I'm not worried about offending anybody.
Yeah.
You got a problem with my show? Don't watch my show. I'm here to tell you how we need to see change to keep this stuff living. And that's why it was created.
And they have done, clone chassis are allowed. It just what's the actual measurement? Like they've done that with the Snow Pro stuff for a lot of years. They've made repops.
Let's get some view of it. I'm okay with clones. I just want to get some opinions of why. You know, are these right? Is tech really doing their job, or is it just it looks like a sled to me? Run her through. It's got a
what's the actual measurement? Where does it come from? Like, can we get an original manufactured sled and get a bunch of measurements off it? So this is the specs for this type of sled.
Yeah, right down to like, hey, is this the right case that's supposed to be in this tunnel? You know, it's different. You know, I want to see it. I want to try to rein this class in a little. We're out of control. And you're not going to stop fast guys. At the end of the day, they're going to be fast. If they're on whatever, they're going to have good drivers. They're going to figure it out. It's like changing the rules every few years to kind of give those guys that are in that intermediate phase or struggling a chance. You know, that's why we see it in other sports like F1 and different things. You see those rule changes so you can get that upset possibly of R&D or the evening of the field for just a little bit again.
Yeah, and there's ways to do that. I mean, you could do weight restrictions and all sorts of stuff. But we're just saying, like,
it's just not fun watching a few guys run away, and then the actual race was the last, you know, four on back sleds was actually the best race this WC. Winners, hands down, amazing, great driver.
Yep, exactly. Like we're just saying that we noticed there's 4 to 5 sleds that are top tier, probably going to have a solid straightaway gap on the next couple sleds on back, barring mechanical failure. And it's getting to the point where, you know, how do you reel it in, like you've said, and get costs down and make it an even more even race.
Yeah, I just want to see better racing. I love watching the guys up front. And I like watching battling. I want to see 3-4 wide guys in the corner.
Yeah.
Where you're on your edge of your chair, or it's not, hey, run away and hide, right?
Yeah. So it was a good race. Good show. The class needs to be a little evener, you know, bring it closer together, I think. And there's ways to do that, and we'll let the powers that be decide that, and just, you know, having a conversation about it, right?
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. We're going to get into grind my gears segment with Brandon, and it's based on drivers. One thing that drove me crazy was drivers blowing up after an accident. I've seen helmets get taken off this weekend on the race surface. We can't have that, guys. I don't want to see a kid. It just shows we're all spoiled. And we're going to get guys getting into us. But please do not take your helmet off and disrespect the guys that are loading your sled up after it's been damaged, or throw your hands up. Unless you're going to throw on a good boxing match like Glenn Hart and Nick, like we don't need it. We don't need to throw the gloves down. unless we're gonna have a good old boxing match, because I'm all for that, because that's gonna get us views.
Yeah, absolutely. That happened a few times this weekend, and we get it, you're frustrated, but
yeah, keep your helmet on. We don't want you falling down on the banking at Eagle River.
Yeah,
and, this is on flow.
Off,
it was on flow, and that is our sport, and we don't want to show that off too much.
No, keep the helmets on, keep the lid on. Don't need any extra head injuries, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that we noticed too is we had 11 months. We knew when the date of the race was, right?
Yeah. Oh, we always know.
We know the date of the race. Second weekend in January.
Maybe they'll push it back,
changed. Norm. Lots of teams. Why are we finishing the sled in the trailer? It needs to be ready before then. There's a lot of cans of worms because stuff wasn't ready. There's no test time. It's like we had a winter where you could have got out and tested. There was several lakes that were froze over. All these gremlins that people say, oh, it's because we're at Eagle River. That's why the gremlins are happening. A lot of them could have been fixed had sleds been ready and had they been out on the ice prior to.
Yeah, maybe it's coming down to facilities to test. Maybe you got to head up to Greenbush area and
PVR Ironwood.
PVR Ironwood would be a good start, or run over by, what is it, the Strathcona, which is over by Greenbush, or run up to Canada and do some testing. Get on your local pond.
I think every lake north of Highway 29 in Wisconsin was definitely frozen to where you could test a snowmobile.
Yeah, and then froze over nicely.
So, and there was no snow. You didn't even plow test tracks this year, Or
maybe a safe facility. Maybe some of these tracks got to step up if they got a later season race, start laying ice right away, and offer something, a safe environment for people to go test at would be really nice. I believe that would be helpful for the sport.
Yes. So we talked to, it was several teams that had, it was
we were building the sled on the way on the highway,
putting the motor in, when we got here Wednesday. Don't know if it's going to run, and then all the little things, so
I think that's the typical racer though.
That happens. Everyone's last minute, but it was frustrating to see guys that you knew could have been fast, should have been fast. Stupid mechanical thing happens.
Yeah. We saw a guy get hindered by mechanical, and it was Jamie all weekend.
Yeah.
From filling the motor up with fuel with a stick in the carb and
something that got in their fuel pump. It was a couple different things.
Just crazy things that do happen, or we seen in the IFS sleds with Sabrina, the fuel line got up on the side of the fuel tank with the brass fitting, and it wouldn't pick fuel up at some points. And just crazy things happen with these sleds. You have to just go through them to the point and make sure your stuff's to a T before it hits that race surface.
Yeah. Too big of a show to let the small things hinder you.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I think that was our Grind Our Gears.
Did
anything else? I had a really fun weekend. It was a lot of fun. We talked to a lot of great people.
It was a relaxing weekend.
Hot box hopped one day.
Yeah, we had a ball on Saturday, just running into fans and hot box jumping,
talking to people. It was great.
Had some track food. Can't go wrong with the Trigg Smokehouse sausage or bratwurst or hot dog. I believe we had hot dogs. Yeah. The facility did a great job. We didn't have any Bloody Marys at the track this time. Maybe they need to push some Papa Seasons on their Bloody Marys and support the people in their sport.
Yeah, we didn't get a we'll get one this weekend.
We'll get one this weekend for sure. I'll get tuned up, and maybe we'll do a 3 a.m. session after Sweetwater.
Yeah, post Sweetwater
podcast.
Yeah, track temps were good. I think the track wore really well. You had the few bumps towards the end of the weekend, but they stayed on top of it, shaving, and had the grinder out, and it looked really smooth. So modern guys, you have nothing to complain about. They got to water. They're still watering, I'm assuming, because
it's colder.
It's really cold here right now. Yeah. So they're gonna have a lot of ice. Should be pretty good.
Let's jump into it. One other thing that was kind of a thing that had people turning, and it had me turning for a minute before I knew the final call on it. Let's jump into the LCQ chat with the fast man, Jamie. Had the opportunity to jump in this LCQ. The understanding from previous years, you get this start and park mentality sometimes, like on a Friday Night Thunder, where you had to start or take a flag to compete in this final or LCQ. Well, in this case, it's different. It's because it's the same show spread out amongst the things. So the WC class actually starts with qualifying, and then it progresses through. So qualifying would be your initial start to your race weekend, which is the same event as the one that takes place as the WC on Sunday. So he did take a start, which would have been qualifying to be qualified for this. So then it goes down to the fact of the LCQ are the people that got eliminated on Saturday from their semifinals. And if that field fills, which would be 10 sleds, if there are mechanical failures or guys that cannot make the line, it would go off of qualifying on who would get the next spot because they could not make the line. You could not go off of the semifinals because there's multiple, and then it'd be like pulling things out of a straw. So it will inverts back to the qualifying of the prior weekend to try to get those fastest guys into the LCQ to try to win it, to make it into the next one. It has happened with Jacques Villeneuve when the Decker family has owned it. It also happened with Bryce Tresniak this weekend.
Cole
Tresniak got this opportunity as well with this. And in past years, I believe I even had the opportunity where I was sitting there. They say, hey, have your sled ready just in case nobody makes call. So you have an opportunity to race through the LCQ to get into the WC. Yes, this is important. Guys do have their sleds ready, even if they're not on that list, because most of the time, this is a finicky class. There's a lot of mechanical issues.
Yes, and this is because Jamie had the mechanical problems. He did not take a green in either heat or a semi on Saturday. And like Brandon said, this has been used and done in the past, where guys will get bumped into the LCQ based on Thursday's time trials. However, they're usually not a factor to go out and maybe win it and get into the WC like Jamie was. So the people that were griping, why is the 4 sled in the LCQ didn't take green on Saturday? That's why. It's not a ISR rule. It's a track rule. It's been done in the past. The precedent's been set. And it was the right call. And like we said, Cole also got bumped into that LCQ, but everyone was too focused and griping about the 4 sled.
I was a little hot in the hot box. No
one knew what was going on.
How'd he make it? Didn't he make a start? And it pans out. It's been done and it's set, and it's awesome that we stuck to the historic setting there. There is no favoritism, and there was another case at the track of this actually happening in another class, and they did not take the start because of the
it was a mechanical DQ or something like that. There was one year.
Yeah, it was a non supermod class this weekend that had a sled that did not take a start in the heat race, and they actually had to sit out the final.
Even though there's only 4 or 5 sleds.
It's just the way it ended up because they didn't take a start, and that was the individual event for that weekend for that class. It didn't start with a qualifying like it was for this case. So,
correct. Unfortunate. It affected Mason Schutte. He was the 3rd place finisher in the LCQ, so he didn't make the show, unfortunately, due to that. But that happens. And I know there's talks of like potentially a provisional, which I don't know how that would work, but I think I heard and talking to a few people was tossed around like if the previous year's champion has absolute mechanical failure and this scenario happens again, which it might not happen for a lot of years, they get a provisional into the WC and they start a 3rd row. It was getting tossed around. Creative idea.
I was reading
don't know.
A lot of comments, in different chats throughout the last day or two here, and it'd be nice to park my equipment that much, and I was kind of chuckling reading that, and I was like, I want to make it in way before I have to go to the LCQ. I'm not worried about parking my equipment.
You don't want it to come down to one race. If you had mechanical gremlins where you couldn't get on the track, how do you know you fixed them all? you're banking a lot on that.
Yeah, I would be. I'd be trying to make it on as fast as I could. I'm not going to play games for sure.
Yeah, that's a thing. All the racers want to be out there to race. It's not, oh, they saved his equipment or anything like that. That's
Some of the reads were pretty good though. I was laughing pretty good. I was like, yeah, just what I want to do is wait till the LCQ.
Yeah, so that was a thing.
The back row.
And like we said, they've done it in the past. They've done it on modern WCs. They've done it on vintage stuff. It's a track rule, not an ISR rule. It's with the history of Eagle River.
But I think it was played out great, and we're gonna stick with it. And I don't plan on seeing it changing. But nobody wants to go to the LCQ. So let's talk F3. That's where we're headed for the 62nd running of the World Championship on the F3 sleds. Norm, this is a big weekend. These guys have been running. We got a lot of fast guys.
So F3, as you know, predominant class of Eagle River. They got time trials Friday. They have
the draw.
We have the drawing Thursday, time trials, and Friday Night Thunder on Friday for them.
So let's just run through what we kind of got for who's running.
Entry list.
We don't have a solid entry list from the track itself at this point. I believe these numbers will go up.
This was posted on the F3 page. I think
so. We got
a couple guys were asking for entries.
So Jesse Morgan's out, I believe, with a knee injury. So we're gonna drop that one off my list here. We got Zach DeWalt for Mickey Factory Racing Team on the 57 out of Twin City. So it's a Polaris. These guys, he's had a podium at the WC already.
I think it was last year. He was last year's second place finisher.
Yeah, and then he went on to do very well at the I-500 as well. So Tyler Towney on the 2 sled for Two Brothers Racing. Let's just skidoo. Bobby Manny, the 131 Racing for a Polaris out of Minnesota. A lot of these guys are going to be coming out of the Myra series.
Enduro guys.
Dakota Harris on a Polaris. It doesn't say team name. We got Joey Birch for DNL, and we got Tanner Foss. We've seen these guys up in Canada, and I've seen some clips of them testing. And congrats to Tanner Foss on his jump over to Weatherall as well for the champ stuff on the 111 sled, I believe. Justin Schutte, Andy Shoemaker. We got Grauman as well. How do you say
Zach Rogers?
How do you say Grauman's first name again?
Ezra.
I always get me when I have to read it on 61 for Polaris. It was Wisconsin. Reed Klinger. Okay, congrats to Reed as well. He got to take the opportunity to jump over on a champ sled, it looks like, with
PDF Racing. He'll be in the Friday Night Thunder show.
Yeah, and then we got Travis Perry, Thomas Olson. Tom, I think he may be a contender with the athletic ability. He's always been there. Wall Brothers kind of been in the need of one, I believe.
Yeah, it's been a few years since the Walls have got a WC. And Tom's been pretty fast on the F3, so is Blaine. I think Blaine won up in Canada on the F3.
Okay, we got Zach Rogers as well. Dan Valton here. I don't know much about Dan or where he's riding a Polaris. Tyler Foster on the 33.3. Mason Schutte. This guy, we just seen him last weekend with a strong run.
I believe he's on a Middlestead machine.
Or Polaris, yeah, so it could possibly be. Blaine Stevenson out of Hutchinson. That'd be another one. He's 2-time world champion himself.
4-time.
4-time?
4-time and the champs.
Okay. There you go. Sorry about that, Blaine. Caught me off. Luke Olson. He's been a strong contender as well. He's been in it a few years now. And then we have the defending world champion, Matt.
Yeah. So looking like roughly 30 some entries. I'm sure some more will come out of the woodwork, and that's not an official list from the track. That's just what we've seen on the F3 page. I can think of a few people. I think Delandria might be coming down. I saw his dad commenting on some stuff.
I don't know.
Not sure.
I heard that one's
that's
might be a scratch.
Okay. Potentially. Again, we don't have an official list. Mike Van Dolder, Canada's finest.
Yeah, on
Dutchman.
the Flying Dutchman sled, he had a good run last year. The sled looked good. I think we had him for a pretty high chose pick
in the odds. Yeah.
Odds.
Yeah, so there's a good 30 plus sleds. It is the highest registered class right now at the track. So lots and lots of good sleds. I throw a blanket over the top 5. I couldn't tell you what or who would be fast.
Yeah, this is
sleds.
It's a tough one to say. Are we gonna do a like last week where we do the top 3? We pretty much hit it last week.
We
1-2'd it for sure.
We posted the odds Saturday night. My write up and your graphic design, posted that, handed out a couple flyers in the hot boxes with what we thought. And
you all seen it on the website as well.
We were 3 for 4. We got Sabrina right, Matt in second, Nathan Foyt, I think we had third, and he had a mechanical issue, and then we had AJ in fourth. So we hit 3 for 4. I think the middle group was pretty close.
The LCQ guy threw us off.
Yes, Jamie.
We didn't have an LCQ. If we would have knew he was an LC, we did in the previous years. We had an LCQ right up because we knew who was starting it. But yeah, that was the one that threw us off there.
Yeah, so it's close. I don't know who I would pick.
It's so tough with the F3s because I don't follow it close. At the end of the day, I haven't followed it to the point where I followed Champ.
Yeah.
F3's got a lot of these guys that we don't have an eye on.
Don't sleep on your Mira guys.
Your Mira guys are fast. Like, if anybody could maybe make an upset, I'm gonna say Zach DeWalt is my upset guy that could win this and not be on the sprint stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Who's your upset guy? Who's your guy that you could see maybe pulling this as an upset?
Like a dark horse?
Let's call it a dark horse if you like.
I think a good dark horse would be the guy that sat on the podium last year. Zach DeWald would be probably my top pick.
You're lapping me here. I'm gonna go with
Joe Birch.
How do you feel about Mr.
He's another good
Joe
one.
Birch as a dark horse, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, we got a few comments. Brett Richter says Blaine, Tom Olson, Birch. That's his top.
Okay.
3.
I believe you got something from one of our sponsors. Could you let's throw what they thought, and we're just not going to put a name to the face.
Yes. So this is a gentleman that
this guy is in the industry and stays on top of this and knows all the teams.
Yes. So this is like, I asked him when I talked to him today what his thoughts were, and he pretty much hit it on the head to exactly what I was thinking. Was throw a blanket over the top 5, and he's like, Blaine and Tom, they're going to be there. They'll have it figured out. They'll be fast. This person also said Gunner. He's fast on the flat tracks, but struggles at Eagle River in the corners.
But he's got that new sled. And it's working. That new sled's working for him. So I'd throw Gunner's name in the hat this year. Actually.
Absolutely. And then he said, obviously hard to beat against Gady. He's the 2-time world champ. And he's like, if he can run without, it depends if he gets a restart in there. That's always a variable. If you go 25 laps straight, who do you take if there's a red in there somewhere? That screws everything up. And then his dark horses were the same as what we had. We had Zach DeWalt and Joe Birch. So,
really? He did? Yes. I didn't read this note, so I just know we received it.
And I said, yeah, he's in the same boat. That's pretty much kind of my, professional take on it would be that. I like MVD Van Dolder as a dark horse.
Okay.
If he's there, I'm sure they're coming. Oh. He's got a fast sled.
Yeah.
Another guy, we had his brother on the show last week. Reed Klinger looked very racy up in Canada. I think they're still figuring out little setups kind of stuff.
Will Reed have the rideability though? This is a big race. There's a lot of laps on a sled.
Yeah.
Comes from a moto background.
Yeah, that's helpful for sure. It's a toss up. I mean, if
we can't count out the king right now. We've actually been really quiet about Matt.
Can't sleep on him until he's beaten, right?
Yeah, I'd say my next one, if I'm going on the podium, Matt's going to be on the podium.
Yeah, yes.
I believe so. No matter what, Matt's gonna be on the
mechanical
podium.
or some DNF issue, I would say he's a podium rider. Man, I don't know. I guess give me your third place finisher right now. If we're gonna do a list.
I'm gonna go DeWalt.
Okay, so now I got to pick a third place. We said we were gonna pick different this time.
Okay.
There's so many good sleds. I'm gonna go Gunner.
You're gonna go Gunner. Okay, podium for the G Money.
Podium for G Money.
Let's go to second. You can have first pick on second here.
I don't want first pick on second. Tom Olson.
Tom Olson. I'm gonna say, wow. I'd say it's strong. I'm gonna say Matt Gady for my second.
I can't take him.
But you could take him to win.
I can take him to win.
You could take him to win.
You know how many 3 Pete's have happened in the WC?
One.
Blaine.
One.
Yeah. You know, I'm an odds guy. I'm probability of odds. That's why I write them for the WC. And I'm not counting them out. I just don't know if it happens a third time in a row. I think he's going to be fast and competitive, and they're going to prove me wrong. And we're going to walk in the trailer one day this weekend. He's going to be like, Norm, you're an asshole. I'll be like, I was just giving you motivation, right? I'm going to go Blaine. I think Blaine gets it done. The drive for 5 is still alive.
I think Blaine's going to win it.
You think Blaine's going to win it too?
I think Blaine's going to win it. So hold on a second. You didn't. I didn't
let you. Oh yeah, I didn't let you take.
You were on second, buddy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I
screwed it up.
Okay, wow. We both were thinking Blaine. I think the hunger's there. The mad style throw in. If the track stays smooth on the bottom,
yes,
he's going to be scary fast.
Yeah, I think if they push the track up, I think that suits Matt's riding style more. And again, this is just our
right now. We're riding on the bottom.
Yes.
We're at the post. We're Blaine Stevenson fast time stuff.
Martinsville, and you're flat tracking.
We're 17, just shy of 1,800 feet long as the sled rides.
Yeah, it was some GPS numbers we heard.
So think about that. Matt and it's a toss up between Matt and Blaine at the end of the day.
Right now, pre-race
favorites. Pre-qualifying times. We don't know who's going to come out fast. You know, Tanner Foss could be a rocket ship. They've been running laps. That DNL Racing has been running so many laps. They could be the mystery childs for all we know.
Yes, and he's teammates to Joey Birch, I believe.
Yes.
So very good equipment there.
Anybody, throw your stuff in the comments. I want to hear it all. We want to see it. We want to see this blow up. I want to see this comment section burn down and shut my internet off again.
Yeah, because there's a lot of diversity in here. You got people talking about Matt and Klinger. It's a dark horse. Mason Schutte is a dark horse. That's fast stuff. Middlestead's equipment. You got Birch, Gady, Blaine. Yeah, it's going to be a dark horse. And then you got to factor in, if you're the number 1 qualifier and you win Friday night, are you going to run into the issues of where you're not keeping up with track adjustments come Sunday time because you didn't have to run all day Saturday, Brandon?
Well, you get that practice prior.
You get 3 laps, but you're not in race conditions.
Yeah, that's true. But that's all unpredictable race conditions at some point.
Yeah. So, but we've seen that in the past where you're the number 1 qualifier in time trials. You go all win Friday Night Thunder, and you don't keep up with the adjustments and the speed of everyone else, and you're not as fast come the big show.
Looks like Matt's got a lot of fans in the comments section.
Yeah, a lot of it's pretty split. Blaine, Matt, Birch for one of them. Perfect. That's what we like to see.
This diversity. Is what we like to see. Yeah. Any final thoughts as we head off today with the WC? Anything you want to see done or the changes or?
I like this weekend. I thought went very smooth. They plowed and everything got done in a timely fashion. I like that. It keeps people very quick. Makes the show go by easy. And
Friday night show can
can drag out sometimes. And I thought we got out of there in a fairly reasonable time, I thought. And we sit around and talk to people.
That's
So,
true. That's true. It maybe the one note I could throw in there is if a sled breaks down, just pull the shit to the inside. Don't
yeah, I
don't
didn't like the riding
don't
up in the hay
go and
bales.
don't even like don't go get it on the cutter. Go get the cutter sled, maybe throw it on it and park the cutter sled in the infield. Like just get them
So
off
we
the
can get
track so we
going.
can get going. This is a Friday night show. We're not here to play games. And usually if it's like a heat race and their stuff's not working and there's nowhere else to go for them, they could sit in the infield all night for all I really care.
Yeah.
I really just want to see this show progress and get on really fast. And that's the one note I had, I think, for the Friday
Other
night
than
show.
that, it was pretty good.
It was an awesome show. The plow breaks were fast.
Yeah,
Everything was really smooth.
I thought so.
I'll give the Derby crack. The pits were iced. They had a great year. Great start to the year. Great start. I think they just got to hit the home run here and have a good year.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was top-notch stuff. They got their stuff going real quick, and
maybe more hot boxes so people can experience that.
build more hot boxes, right? Or find a way to bring in temporary ones.
Yeah, something, because that is the way to watch it. The hill is cool, but if you're drunk and having a warm buzz going, but yeah, more hot boxes. I think are the future.
There's my
we're getting lazy.
My soapbox announcement. If you get drunk in your hot box, don't walk down the hill on the backside. I had to help a guy up. That I think he messed up his replaced knee a little bit, but he was fine. I did see him later in the weekend, but so yeah, watch the hill if you're gonna overindulge. But big difference I did see in the comments that I think Brent Miller posted. He was 100% right on it. Look at what the track temps are gonna do and the weather for the weekend.
Yep.
It's supposed to be nice mid-20s on Friday and cooling off into the evening. Come Sunday, high of 8. And very cold in the morning. So,
well, you know what that does?
Makes the ice hard and chisel away, and
it makes it rough.
So that is going to be another variable thrown in. Blaine and Matt have pretty much covered the F3 class for the last couple years. Gunner's been very fast as well at some of the flatter bank tracks. So it'll be interesting. It's kind of a coin.
I'm thinking we're going to see an upset. I hate to say it. There's going to be somebody that's these cross country riders or not cross country.
Yeah, don't ever sleep on the Mira guys.
The Mira guys, I think, are going to throw some really good equipment on the sled. And I know they're practicing because they got it back at the I-500 as well for the Formula 3.
Yes.
Final note we have to throw in here is get out and share your media. We want to see more shares. It's important. We spend a lot of time on this stuff. When we put the odds out or a camera guy puts something out on the weekend, support them. You know, these guys are doing a lot of this on their own time, their own dime. It's not cheap. You know, it's a race team. Yeah, it's expensive to be there too. And I feel like sometimes they just expect photos are given out or posted. Give some at least give some kickback, some shares. Maybe if you see a photographer, throw them some bills. Yeah, money's always nice.
Buy their photos. I know.
Take them out to dinner.
They got a lot of stuff in equipment.
Yeah. And you know, you get one camera.
One camera's $10,000. I know that. A couple of those guys, and they got 3 camera setups and stuff like that. It was fun. We did get to meet a lot of the media people.
I think the media guys are figuring out we cannot go against each other.
Yes,
we have to
work together.
We have to work together. Like. We can't be hating on each other or stepping on each other's dick by starting a show during my show. That one goes out to one person directly.
Oh boy, calling her out.
I'm calling her out.
Bonsai did great. It was fun hanging out with Andre this weekend, right?
Yeah, Andre is always fun.
He does good.
He brings the mega lens out.
He makes us do on the spot interviews too.
Yeah, you made me look like a marshmallow.
Well, I did see someone comment that you were the yellow banana this weekend because you were in your Skidoo coat.
Yeah, they also said they had images from NASA of me laying on the ground. You know, if I fell down, they knew to pick me up.
So where you were.
Yeah,
you stuck out. I mean, you tried being incognito, and
I think it was incognito in a funny way.
Yeah, a little.
You know, nobody's like, he's not going to wear all Skidoo stuff, right?
Yeah. So. Steve Perrick said it correct. All ice oval racing needs to stick together. And if you're not racing this weekend, show up and support the Derby track. It will be a good show. Might be a little balmy and a little nipply on Sunday. Can't wait. You're going to be in a hot box, and you're going to be outside
working, buddy. Get on that front
fun.
stretch for me, little man.
Yeah, we need a hand warmer sponsor, I think, because the battery roulette game between pocket and camera is going to be played.
Bonsai showed me this Zippo. They're like electric.
Yeah, it's like a little electric. He was telling me about that.
Yeah, I think we might have to do some investing and see. They even made like a gas version of it where it burned internally.
Yes, yeah, that's what we were talking about, like a propane hand warmer kind of thing.
So yeah, we look forward to seeing all of our media friends on Thursday and having some chats with them. And if you're an F3 driver, make sure you sit down in the hot seat with us. That's what we're gonna go with. The hot seat.
Hot seat on Thursday at the museum.
Thursday night, we're going to do it. We're going to be live in the hot seat. We're going to just leave a stream up on the Dirty Snow Podcast Facebook page and YouTube page. As drivers cycle through the hot seat, we're going to bomb them with questions. It'll be like a Kill Tony episode without the comedy.
Yes, we're going to cycle through them pretty good. So it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to talking to a lot of these great drivers and seeing what they have to say. And I like talking to a lot of people in the pits. It's a lot of fun too. Maybe I got some new mounts coming for some camera stuff. Maybe I'll have to put on my bonsai hat and do some live in the trailer interviews real quick, get them while they're not ready.
Oh boy, show the top secrets of the F3s.
No, we can't do that. Much stuff going on. So good stuff. Hope to see you guys at the track. If not, it will be on Flow Racing. So yeah, go ahead and
catch us post WC. We'll be here next week on Tuesday with possibly your winner. We'll see how their travel schedule turns out and what they will be doing. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll be live Thursday at some point, and maybe a few live interviews on the Facebook page. Nothing that involves a big conversation like this, but yeah, check it out and watch for the odds to come out Saturday night.
Saturday night odds. This is a big share it. If you're a racer in that field and you don't share it, you won't be on the odd sheets next year. We're cutting you out and you're putting you at 0-0.
Thanks, everyone.